Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing.
Do you have news?
I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
It depends what it's all about.
A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings.
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves. But he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Bocek of Kunstadt, Haman Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, We've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know who I'm dealing with.
Certainly. Who do you want to start with?
Bocek of Kunststadt. I know the name, but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here. Assemblies like this are more of a...
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow. But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money, of course.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade, and she knows a thing or two about diplomacy. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her, and that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
Success to our plans.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Bocek.
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pa, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without a by your leave. Or to harass my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I'll talk to you later, Father. This is important.
You're in my home, so you'll talk to me first. What is it you want?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
We'll talk later and in private. Right now we have more important things to attend to.
Don't try my patience.
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
One beer.
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Alder.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson. And he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back. Yeah. Sacre. You're fast.
What's wrong with your legs? You don't know which end of that thing is up.
I'll sort you out nicely.
Cover your right side. You've got a gap there I can drive a car through.
Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Stand firm. Otherwise, the first strike will put you on your arse. Look at my
bad for a
eyes,
priest.
not at my sword. Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist.
Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Left arm lower.
That will do. My God. Why did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. And the sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
Do I have any choice?
If it's really that important, you don't.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
Mind where you're going.
Greetings. Burghers, patricians, and usurers. They're without one.
We're trying to...
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Yobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms is a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Are we not on the same side?
We are, but an alliance is of no use if it doesn't also guarantee safety.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him, and he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Take a look at that.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? My Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, I explained to him how such an alliance could be mutually beneficial.
Mutually? What do you mean?
He's got a pretty serious personal interest in this... bond.
Stop beating around the bush and spit out what you promised him.
Lord Kunstadt has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
Sir Bocek, your niece Yivka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstadt.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yitka and the unhappy Lord Capon.
Here's to a good bargain. And that's exactly why you are.
Cheers! God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
How do you know Liechtenstein's behind it?
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them certainly have doubts about the Margrave's plans, but they wouldn't dream of stating them aloud. While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein, on the contrary, sees his opportunity.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine, and beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harmon Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorin's groom has eyes everywhere.
Take a look at that. A nightingale.
What brings you here? My goodness, friend. You're completely sloshed.
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered. I'm not idle.
God forbid. But standing around here must be a pain in the arse, no? You might get thirsty.
Not really. What of it?
Shall we roll some dice? I'm sure you can take a little breather, eh?
Well, all right. But just for a little while. I'll wait at the table over there.
Go easy on him. It wasn't his fault.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
My lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord, but we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslas, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.